Today we are starting the sixth chapter, and that is on program governance. And after this, we will be covering the longest chapter, and that is the program life cycle, followed by program activities. There are two chapters which are left after this one. So in program governance, what are we going to cover? There are three subheadings in program governance. Number one is program governance practices, then program governance roles, and program governance design and implementation. By the way, the question we were discussing yesterday was related to program governance as well as stakeholder engagement, and that's why we were not knowing the roles of the governance, and probably that's why we had a little misunderstanding on that. So here we will study the practices, roles, and design and implementation of governance. Uh, we will have to go in detail in each one of these topics. For example, in program governance practices, we will be talking about naturally what these practices are, what is program governance, and vision and goal. Naturally, our previous discussion on vision and goal will support this discussion. Program approval, endorsement, and definition, program success criteria, program monitoring, reporting, and controlling, program risk and issue governance, program quality governance, program change governance, program governance reviews, program periodic health checks, program component initiation and transition, and ultimately program closure. So, governance regarding each and every area which is mentioned here would be discussed. Then in 6.2, the various roles in governance could be the program sponsor. Naturally, he is the person who is the boss of the program manager, and he is issuing the program charter to the program manager. So he is the first link with the steering committee. So program sponsor is one of the governance roles, then the steering committee itself. If there is a program manager existing, that is naturally part of the governance role. Program managers, program project managers, and other stakeholders, they also have some role in governance mechanism. But I am not saying that they are part of the governance board. But these are the various governance roles through which it will trickle down to the lowest level. Program governance design and implementation is the third heading. So what is program governance? Naturally, this is the next performance domain which we are going to discuss, and it enables and performs program decision making. So what all we are doing, wherever there has to be a decision taken and that decision is not within the power of the component or project managers or program managers, naturally such decisions are escalated to the next higher level. For example, one of the decisions we were discussing yesterday was the decision of go, no go from one phase to other phase. So program decision making is one of the roles which have to be played by the governance board, or maybe the governance roles have specific actions to be taken for this specific role. Next, it establishes practices to support the program. Naturally, when we start a program, we have to develop a program management plan. I'm not talking about the benefit management plan or the charter or all those things which were created earlier, but ultimately the detailed document would be a program management plan, and program management plan cannot be created until and unless there is a governance structure given to it. So the basic guideline for developing the program management plan is provided in the program governance. So an organization who is running this program, or any program for that matter, must have some general guidelines about how to do the program governance as desired by the top level management. Because top level management has to ensure that whatever is happening in program is aligned not only with the strategy but also with the practices, the governance practices of the organization. And third objective is to maintain program oversight. How to take care continuously of the program, how can we keep an eye on the program, how well it is performing. But again, I would say that these are generic guidelines provided for all the programs. There is no program governance for specifically for any one program. The general program governance guidelines are provided, and based on those guidelines, the program manager develops a detailed program management plan, meaning what? That the further tailoring of those governance guidelines according to the program objectives for this program is the responsibility of program manager. Here we are not concerned right now about the program management plan, but we are talking only about the program governance. So what will it comprise of? It gives us the framework, the functions and processes by which a program is monitored, managed, and supported in order to meet organizational, strategic, and operational goals. So, to keep it aligned with the organization, all what is happening in the program must be in alignment with the practices, governance practices of the organization. So, howsoever the reports and returns are running within the organization, what all is to be known to the higher levels, this this is all intimated through the governance mechanism. And that mechanism includes the framework, the functions, and the processes. Focus of program governance is the delivery of program benefits. Naturally, we are doing program management, so program governance will focus generically on the delivery of program benefits. Why I'm saying generically time and again is because program governance is generally a mechanism given for all programs in the organization to run. What all should be considered by the program managers to run a program, and whatever they are supposed to be reporting to reporting upstairs, and what are the key performance indicators and all that. This is how the key performance indicators can be established. This is all given in the program governance. But program governance will not indicate exactly the KPIs. KPIs will have to be established and agreed with the top level management. So the focus of program governance is the delivery of program benefits by establishing the systems and methods. So who is going to establish the systems and methods? That is the responsibility of the program, by which a program and its strategy are defined, authorized, monitored, and supported by its sponsoring organization. So how it is to be defined, how it is to be authorized, monitored, and supported, all this is generically given in the program governance structure. Our program governance framework, when well designed, provides practices for effective decision making. Ultimate target is that through this governance framework, the top level management should be able to take apt decisions, right decisions at right time, and the decision making process should be effective, and it ensures that the program is being managed appropriately. Here I want to discuss one thing, and that is, probably I have discussed it earlier also, that is, as you move up in the ladder, you become, you know, lesser detail, and you have bigger decision making power. When we escalate an issue from bottom up, the person sitting right at the bottom knows the detail of the problem because the problem has occurred in his area. He has the complete transparency about the problem. He has seen the problem occur and he knows the dynamics of the problem. But he may not have the decision power to resolve that issue or problem. So this is the case where we escalate the issues or problems upwards. And why do we escalate? Because we do not have enough decision power for doing that. If the problem could have been resolved at the lowest level, if it was within the power of the person responsible, he would have done it. Because it could not be done, he did not have specific decision power to handle the issue. That's why he has escalated it to the next higher level. That could be the supervisor. He might have more powers. Maybe the person working on the job has encountered a problem that the conveyor belt has stopped working, and what all is in his power to see is if there is electricity is coming, is there, if the machine is, all the parts are properly connected and all that. This is within the power of the person who faced the problem. If he could fix it, he will do it. Otherwise, he will have to escalate it. Maybe he does not recognize the reason why this problem has occurred, or if he knows the reason, he knows that he cannot resolve it because that is not within his power. Maybe there is a part broken, so he doesn't have the power to go and buy that part and replace it. So in that case, he will escalate the issue to the supervisor. Supervisor, if he has that kind of power, he would resolve it. If he has the authority to replace that part, he will do it. And if he doesn't or he cannot, then probably this is going to be further escalated. So this mechanism of issue escalation is also basically defined through the program governance, or for that matter, organizational governance. Because issue management is not just a program issue. Issues, problems, risks, they rise in programs, in projects, in portfolios, and even in operations. So therefore, issue escalation, problem escalation, risk escalation, all these things are generic to an organization and they keep happening everywhere. But specifically, if we are dealing with the programs, how the program issues are to be governed, how they have to be escalated, and all this mechanism is to be defined in this governance mechanism or framework. Program governance is performed through the actions of a review and decision making group. So those things which have come up to the highest level, who are actually keeping an eye on the whole system, they are reviewing everything you do, they have the ultimate decision power. This decision making group that is charged with endorsing or approving the recommendations regarding a program under its authority. So this is the highest level. So whatever escalation path you're following, either it is for issue, it is for problem, it is for uh, review or any other case, the highest power being exercised on the program is this decision making group. Program manager uh, has management responsibilities. He is answerable to this group. Therefore, he is linked to this group. Otherwise, he is not the ultimate decision maker. So his responsibility is to ensure that program is run within the governance framework while managing the day-to-day program activities. So as far as the managing day-to-day program activities is concerned, this is the actual job of the program manager. Whereas linking it with the governance board are to ensure that program is being run exactly according to the governance framework given to him. That is also the responsibility of the program manager. Program manager should ensure that the program team understands and abides by the governance procedures and the underlying governance principles. What are these underlying governance principles? Naturally, they are not just related to the program. They are beyond program. They are related to the vision and mission of the organization. Therefore, that has direct strategic linkages. So, it is also the responsibility of program manager to make his team understand and ensure that they abide by all the governance procedures, practices, or the underlying principles, whatever they are. So they must be educated to that level that this is the governance requirement. Like you see, in this government, in a country's government, there might be certain governance requirements. Whatever projects are programs are being run in the country are basically all being governed by a big thought, the vision of the organization of the country, the mission, and naturally the benefits it needs to deliver to the nation. So basically, governance mechanism is a cloud over a system. The systems are managed, whereas governance is the ultimate body who provides you the guidance as well as who holds the decision making power. Program governance may also refer to the framework, functions, and processes, as we said earlier, by which a program team monitors and manages the components. So, following those frameworks, functions, and processes given in the governance framework, in governance, program team will then design their own program management plan, and in accordance with that, they will be able to monitor and manage various components and projects within a program that are being performed to support the program, to meet the objective of the program. All the components which are designed within, they all have to abide by the governance framework. Governance of components is often achieved through the actions of the program manager and program team responsible for the integrated outcome of the program. And because the program manager is the highest body within the program, therefore, he is responsible for day running of the program, and his team is responsible for the integrated outcome of the program. Naturally, program manager is also responsible. That's why it said program manager and program team. Such a responsibility may also be called as component governance. So what is happening here is the program governance is now providing the governance structure for the components. So program manager is responsible to translate the guidelines given in the program governance into the component governance, the project governance, or whatever is the component. So all the components will have that their component governance structure or framework provided to them, and they will prepare their plans in accordance with that. For example, there is a project within a program, so program governance will apply how to divide these projects into this program into components. What are the components, and how to manage them. So at that level, this is the program governance. But how the components are to be managed within the program, naturally remaining within the guideline of the program governance, project governance will be provided to them. The component governance will be provided to them. And they will then be responsible for creating their respective management plans in accordance with that component governance. That is what is meant by the governance of the components. And if you remember, we have already discussed that there is an organizational governance, which is the biggest umbrella. Under that umbrella, there could be operational governance, that could be for the operations of the organization, and that would be the direct subset of the overall organizational governance. But organizational governance will also apply to portfolios, programs, and projects. So as far as the portfolio is concerned, portfolio will have its own governance structure, and remaining within that governance structure, program governance structure will be evolved. And remaining within the program governance structure, there will be the component or project governance structure. So there is a smaller umbrella under a bigger umbrella always. And if this organization is specifically in a specific country, then the national governance mechanism would be applicable to all organizations and their programs and projects in that country. This is just like having the law of the land. Program governance is impacted by organizational governance, as I said, which is a structured way to provide control, direction, and coordination through people, policies, and processes to meet organizational, strategic, and operational goals. So the organizational governance is supreme, and this is the largest umbrella within the organization. Typically, portfolio governance is the hierarchical level of governance where program investments are authorized. Purpose of portfolio was not to run the program, it was to select the program or the project which are to be run. So where portfolio should invest, in which program or in which standalone project it needs to invest, which is most suitable, that much is portfolio governance. And within the portfolio, we will have then the program and project governance. Figure 6.1 I'll show you just one or two slides later. It illustrates the governance relationship for programs. Within a portfolio structure, portfolio governance supporting functions and processes are linked to the programs through portfolio governance. So, portfolio governance is inherited to programs in shape of the program governance provided for each program. So, whatever the portfolio has decided, whatever the programs and standalone projects have been selected, they will then be governed by the respective program governance or project governance. As I said, here when I say a project under a portfolio, it does not mean I'm talking about a project within a program. When I talk about a project under a portfolio, that means a standalone project. Similarly, when I talk about a program, that means a standalone program. So all the standalone programs and projects. Why I'm saying standalone? Because there could be programs under programs. Like we have got component sub-programs within my program. So those component sub-programs are not directly governed by the portfolio governance. Portfolio governance will provide guidance only to the standalone program or if there is any standalone project. Okay, the standalone programs that are outside of a portfolio structure. A governing body provides governance supporting functions and processes to programs, including governance policies, oversight, control, integration, and decision making. You can note down these points: policies, oversight, control, integration, and decision making functions. Policies are the guidelines. Oversight, how the KPIs will be set and how they will be monitored. And control is physically monitoring that. Then integrating all the results of all the components, and ultimately decision-making function. That is the escalated issues which go up to the level of the governance board, or these are the decisions which are inherently held by the governance board, like go no go decision from one phase to the other phase of the program. So all the functions and processes related to these things are within the program preview, and this is given to us as a program governance structure. The type and frequency of the governance activities are determined by the portfolio governance and governing body, because the standalone programs and standalone projects are under the portfolio. So portfolio governance will tell us the type and frequency of the governance activities which are to go on. The portfolio provides governance policies, oversight, control, integration, and decision-making functions and processes to programs within the portfolio structure. So this is, the bigger umbrella here under the organizational structure, organizational governance is the portfolio governance, and then is the program or project governance. This is a diagram of governance hierarchy. Actually, under the organizational governance, here we have portfolio governance, then we have program governance, and then the components. Now, these components could be subsidiary programs or directly projects. So they will have their own governance mechanism, and a subsidiary program can further have another subsidiary program which can have projects, or subsidiary program can directly have projects, whatever the mechanism is. Maybe you don't have subsidiary programs. You just directly have projects under the program. So here we can see the alphabets A, B, and C marked there. A means governance policies and practices, governance oversight and support, governance control, integration, and decision making. These are those 5 things which I told you to remember. Governance policies and procedures, policies and practices, governance oversight and support, governance control, governance integration, and governance decision making. That is being provided from portfolio to the program, and program then provides the similar kind of a subset of the same set of instructions to subsidiary programs. That means portfolio governance has provided the program governance. Program governance has provided the component governance. And what is going back from a level, from program to the portfolio, or from subsidiary program to the program, these are the performance reports, change requests, escalated issues and risks. I just mentioned how the escalations are done. So escalated issues and risks, and benefit capability delivery. So whatever you deliver, the benefits you are supposed to deliver. So whatever you deliver, the capability you deliver is being sent back to the governance for governance review. If there is a change request, that goes up. If there is a performance report, that goes up, and all the escalated issues and risks go up. Now coming over to C. C is the lowest level. The projects are giving back something to the next higher level. So naturally, they are providing the performance report, they are providing the change request, escalated issues and risks, and because they are projects and they do not have to deliver the benefits, so projects will deliver the product, service, or result. So this probably will make you understand how the hierarchy of governance works. What is not shown here is the biggest umbrella of organizational governance. Under the organization governance, we have the OPM, organizational project management, in which we have the portfolio on top, portfolio governance, program governance, and then component governance or project governance. I hope we are clear till now. Ji Farayal.
Yes, very good.
Julian? Okay. So now let's talk about effective program governance. Effective program governance supports the success of a program. That means defining the success criteria should also be part of it. And we'll talk about success criteria separately. But effective program governance means that you diligently follow the governance guidelines and lead your program to success, ensuring that the goals of the program remain aligned with the strategic vision, operational capabilities, and resource commitments of the sponsoring organization. That is your first objective as far as the program governance is concerned. You you want to abide by the strategic vision. You do not want to diversify from the strategic vision. You whatever you are doing must be aligned with the strategic vision, the operational capability you are ultimately going to achieve and transition to the operations, and the resource commitments of the sponsoring organization. Remaining within those resources, you are doing all this. Then compliance with the reporting and controlling processes required to support this alignment is enforced by the program governance domain. So how do you comply according to the reporting and controlling processes? So those reporting and controlling processes are established, or they have already been established if this is generic for the programs. So those reporting and controlling processes in general are already there. You have to adopt them. They are required to support this alignment. So all those actions which will ensure that you remain aligned with your strategy, you remain, uh, you keep delivering the capability to the operations, and you keep using, uh, you keep committing the resources which are available within the organizational resources. Then the second job is approving, endorsing, and initiating the program and securing funding from the sponsoring organization. Now, this is again an important job, and that is where the key stakeholders, or for that matter, the sponsor comes into play. And when we talk about sponsor here, we usually sponsor has to interact with the governance board, which we'll be studying later. So, approval of a phase, endorsement that this job has been done all right, and initiation of a program phase, a program itself, or any one of these phases, or for that matter, you can also say giving a go no go decision. This is all part of effective program governance. Establishing clear, well understood agreements as to how the sponsoring organization will oversee the program, and conversely, the degree of autonomy that the program will be given in the pursuit of its goals. So this is a very fine fabrication from the portfolio governance to the program governance. Naturally,
Suhail,
yes, please.
um, uh, these are all the bullet points on page 69 exactly, the
Yes,
slides,
yes.
right? Uh, Can we add something on top of it just to explain them?
I'm
Because
trying to explain things as I go. If you need to discuss anything, we can stop there. But I'm talking more than what is written there.
okay. Okay.
If it is making sense, then it is all right. If it is you need some discussion on that, we can do that. But basic purpose is that the main concept is discussed and understood. So we talked about the establishment of clear, well understood agreements as to how the sponsoring organization will oversee the program. So as I had defined earlier, that the sponsoring organization wants to be sure that the way the program is being run, that is being reported accurately to them. But you remember I said that bottom level person has more visibility and less decision making. As we move up, the visibility is low and decision making is high. So let's take the example of the governance board. The governance board is there to make decisions, go, no go decision, change request decisions, and all those decisions we just talked about. So they are supposed to make those kinds of decisions, but they do not know the detailed facts and figures. Now, this is the responsibility of the program manager to, if an issue is escalated, if the performance report is going up, that should be so detailed that it makes it easier for the governance board people to make accurate and correct decisions. If you are not providing them enough information, then probably they will not be able to make the right decisions. Moreover, how would you know, sitting in a governance board, that whatever is happening in the program is correct? They cannot micromanage whatever is being done in the program. Although program manager is managing it and reporting to them, but there are two issues. Number one, they cannot see what is happening and they have to rely on whatever the program manager is telling them. Do they have any other mechanism to do that? How can they ensure that the reports coming to them are correct, are accurate, and whatever they really want to watch, is it being visible to them or not? Generally, in project management, we call it monitoring, evaluation, and control. And that is normally done by the project sponsor. Project sponsor was in PMP, in project management, project sponsor was responsible for overseeing the KPIs of the project. Now, KPI is the term which is to be taken here. They will not be able to see exactly what job has been done. They will just be reported on a performance report, and performance report will only be indicating performance against certain key performance indicators. Those key performance indicators would show whether the organization is doing well or not. That is number one point. Number 2 point is, sometimes the governance board or the higher level executives, they employ another role, and that is of a consultant. And this is the third party which reviews the program, and all the reports coming from the program manager, a copy of them are sent to consultant. He vets them, he checks them, and he submits his own report to the top level management or the governance board. And based on that expertise, they are well equipped, better equipped to make right decisions. So that is a second arrangement. But basically, as a program manager, you should be able to provide your governance board with enough information, enough and correct information, as if they can make correct decisions. Conversely, the degree of autonomy that the program will be given in the pursuit of its goals. So how much power can be given to the program and how much should be controlled by the governance board? What decisions are to be still held by the governance board? Then facilitating the engagement of program stakeholders by establishing clear expectations for each program's interactions with key governing stakeholders throughout the program. So the stakeholders we are talking about, which we discussed in the previous chapter, they have to be, as you remember, you have to identify them, you have to, you know, get their needs and expectations, and then you have to, after a proper analysis of these stakeholders, uh, you have to develop a stakeholder engagement plan, and so on and so forth. So this enabling our engagement of the stakeholders is to be facilitated by establishing clear expectations for each program interaction. So this is again the responsibility of the program manager to update to the governance board or higher body to to make sure that what are the needs and expectations and how are we going to engage them. You see, if I do not provide them enough information, all the decisions which are to be taken by the governance board might go wrong. If they do not understand, they do not know, or I have not communicated to them properly the stakeholder engagement plan or the stakeholder needs and expectations, then probably they will remain unaware about that, and they may land up making a decision of, maybe approval of a phase without considering the stakeholder part of it. That is exactly why I said that on top of program manager, there should be another check on the program manager, and that can only be possible through a program consultant. But that is not mentioned in as far as this uh, standard is concerned. That is not exactly mentioned here, but I am just telling you that is another way of doing it. Next point is creating an environment for communicating. Now, once we have stakeholder engagement plan developed, now are we in a condition to develop a communication management plan? So, creating an environment for communicating and addressing program risks and uncertainties to the organization, as well as opportunities and issues that arise during the course of program governance. So this is self-explanatory. We are just ensuring that whatever environment we have created, how to communicate within it, how the issues and risks will be escalated and all. So this is all to be discussed in this topic. Providing a framework that is aligned with the portfolio. Naturally, we are under the portfolio governance. The program governance is under the portfolio governance. So we must understand that framework also, because with that we are being aligned. And corporate governance policies, that is even further than portfolio, we have the corporate governance or the organizational governance policies and processes. They all have to be taken care of while we are creating the program governance structure for assessing and ensuring the program is compliant. Each program may need to create a particular governance process or procedure, but it should be aligned with organization's governance principles. So again, linking it back to the organization's governance principles. Designing and authorizing the assurance process, and when required, executing reviews and health checks of the program progress in delivering its expected benefits. Various review types are used, including phase gate reviews, other decision point reviews, and periodic health check. Now, these are the various ways through which the governance board can peep into the program. They have, whenever a phase is completed, naturally the decision to vet that phase is with the governance board. So governance board will be then looking at it and making a decision. There might be other decisions. There might be other decision points for reviews. For example, there is a change request, whether this should be changed or not, or any other kind of such review. And then we sometimes do the health check. Health check is kind of an audit, and that is like freezing the program at an instance and you know taking the temperature of the whole program, taking a snapshot x-ray of the whole program, and observing and auditing the status of the program as if it is going in the right direction or not. So health check is essentially done by a third party like the consultant I have mentioned, or any other body within the organization could be assigned this job for health check. So these audits can be done, and these audits are directly under the governance. They are not under the program manager. Program manager is not responsible for periodic health check, but he will facilitate them. But these people who are going to be doing the health check, they are not going to interfere with the working of the program. Rather, I would say the minimal interference, if at all, should be there. Then enabling the organization to assess the viability of the organization's strategic plan and the level of support required to achieve it. So this governance is actually enabling our organization to see how the organizational strategic plan can be translated into the program management plan, and how much level of support is required to achieve it. So this is all part of the program governance. Selecting and endorsing and enabling the pursuit of program components. Now, as far as the program components are concerned, program will provide them the component governance structure. But overall, how all these components are to be selected, how they have to be endorsed, how they have to be enabled, this is actually a program governance structure. And program governance board will decide on the fate of each component, whether it should be done, it should not be done, or if it is done, then is it complete or it is not complete, including project subsidiary programs and other program activities. All of this is included in selecting, endorsing, and enabling. And finally, making decisions to transition between phases. That is, as we said, go, no go decision. The decision could be to terminate the program at any specific, gateway point, or close the program, or we have already discussed when a program can be terminated or closed in earlier discussion. So these are some of the points for effective program governance. So I think they are very self-explanatory, and wherever there was a little explanation required, I have discussed it. And if you need to discuss any one of these points any further, please let me know. Any questions here?
No.
Okay, little more on this governance. In addition to these points, effective program governance is especially important in environments that are highly complex and uncertain, when it is necessary to respond rapidly to outcomes and information that becomes available during the course of the program. So when the situation is more uncertain, and naturally in programs usually level of uncertainty is high, but in some programs uncertainty may be more, in some programs that could be comparatively less. So for highly complex and uncertain programs, we have to turn back and respond very quickly to the outcomes and information that becomes available during the course of the program. That is part of the progressive elaboration. We should be able to be flexible, or if I can use the word agile. I'm not using it in exact sense of agile, because then we will have to talk about the scaled scrum and all that. But I'm not going in that direction right now. But I just want to say that it should be an effective program governance structure. Program governance makes it possible to clarify the organization's vision, facilitate alignment of the program with organizational strategy, and enable periodic balancing. And this periodic balancing will happen as we move ahead in the life of the program. And if there is any progressive elaboration, we have to keep balancing our program, and we have to keep checking, is it still aligned with the strategy or not. So we should always keep in our mind the vision of the organization, the alignment of the strategy, and we must keep balancing it periodically with the program demands, with current organizational capabilities. Governance participants are able to monitor and, as necessary, authorize or limit changes. Here we are saying governance participants, later on we'll be calling them the governance board. So these are the people who authorize or who approve your changes or limit changes to the activities performed as part of the program. Governance decision forums focus on facilitating the adaptive realignment of the program's approach to enable the delivery of intended benefits. So you can keep tailoring it, but naturally the decision to tailor or to change anything in the program at the program level should be taken by the governance board. The roles and the participants performing program governance activities, they are to be discussed just immediately later than this, and we'll talk about them, each one of them. Program governance provides an important means by which programs seek authorization and support for dynamically changing program strategies or plans in response to emergent outcomes. This is the summary of what we have just talked about. A program within a portfolio is likely to be governed within the framework of the portfolio. So it is under the portfolio governance, overall under the portfolio governance, but program governance is a subset of the portfolio governance. Portfolio governance provides the framework, functions, and processes providing oversight, control, and all that what we have talked about, and provides the practices to programs. Naturally, it is for programs, and subsequently to projects and operations within the portfolio structure. So overall, portfolio governance is responsible for providing the overall governance of the program, projects, and operations. But when we talk about program, then program governance is responsible for its subsidiary components. In the event that the organization does not have portfolios of programs and projects, then the process to develop the idea and steps to authorize the program should be carried out within the organizational governance framework. Well, that means if you do not have a formal function of portfolio management, I have already discussed that whether there is a formal portfolio management available in your organization or not, portfolio is anyways available. But the only problem is people do have portfolio of projects and programs, but they do not have anyone managing it. In that case, it becomes automatically the responsibility of top level executives of the organization to take care of that portfolio, because somebody will have to be deciding about the portfolio. That means portfolios are not being taken that seriously in this organization. That's why they do not have a formal role for portfolio manager. Our proper portfolio management guideline is not available. So, in those cases where there is no portfolio management formally in that organization, that responsibility is transferred upwards to the organizational governance framework. Okay, next we are going to be talking about the program governance practices. Okay. To facilitate the design and implementation of effective governance, many organizations prepare documented descriptions of each program's governance framework, functions, and processes. And what are these documented descriptions? Let us see what these are. But ultimately, we will have a program management plan based on this governance structure. Such descriptions are summarized in a program governance plan, which may be a standalone document or a subsection of the program management plan. Now, why do I call it a subsection of a program management plan? Uh, that you will have to turn back to the discussion we had about the difference between the management plan and a plan. We said the management plan is about how to plan, and then the details come later. Exact plan, exactly what to do, when to do, and how to do, and who will do it. This is the detailed plan. This could be in form of our Gantt chart. This could be in any other form. But basically, we have to have some guidelines. So the mother of all guidelines for the program is the program governance plan. And program governance plan provides you the guideline for developing a detailed program management plan. And that program management plan will further have certain other plans and their details. Now, this is all up to you where you place this document. It could be a stand-alone document, program governance plan, which I would rather like to have a separate program governance plan, and then based on that, we develop other subsequent documents. And a possibility it has shown here that in case there is no provision in your organization for having a separate program governance plan, then it might be a part of the program management plan, right? Showing program governance plan and in an annex that these are the guidelines we are following. While typically there will be a program governance plan for each program in the organization, some organizations may use a single program governance plan to govern several programs. That is the second later idea is the one which I am following. I said that there is a generic governance plan for all the programs in the organization, and they all are preparing their program management plan accordingly. But if you are translating them, that governance plan, specifically to fit our program, then it might be called that program's governance plan. But ultimately, the purpose is the same. We have to translate it into the program management plan and further on with other details to be filled within it. But that is the parent plan. Governance plan is the parent guideline how to do it. Purpose of program governance plan is to describe the systems, methods to be used to monitor, manage, and support a given program, and the responsibilities of specific roles for ensuring the timely and effective use of those systems and methods. This plan is referenced throughout the program duration to ensure the program is conforming to established governance expectations and agreements. So whenever we use the word governance, program governance plan, that means this is uh, something like a law for the program, and this law has to be followed. So this governance plan includes those procedures and things which have been uh, made obligatory for you to follow. Definitions of roles and responsibilities. The program governance plan describes the structure and composition of the group of governance participants and defines the roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders, which we'll be talking later. The plan defines who will have accountability and authority, like Faryal had been saying, the RASI or RAM, responsibility assignment metric. So RASI is more like it because RASI shows the accountability as well as the authority for each stakeholder. So this plan defines who will have accountability and authority with respect to key decision making categories and responsibility boundaries. So basic responsibility and the key decision making authority. So all those people who have this kind of accountability, authority, or responsibility, that is shown in those kind of documents. Then we have planned governance meetings. Program governance plan should contain a schedule of anticipated program-related governance meetings. Now, once we talk about the governance meeting, we are talking about the governance board or those meetings in which the governance board is interacting with other stakeholders. So that is anticipated program-related governance meeting, activities, and key milestones such as scheduled expected decision point reviews. And these decision point reviews are like phase gate reviews. When a phase of the program is completed, that has to be vetted by the governance board. Then we have the program health checks, as I mentioned. Program health check is the X-ray of the frozen state of a program at any point in the life of the program. It could be taken anytime. It could be, a surprise check, or it could be a scheduled check. But at any point when you do the health check, that means you take an X-ray of whatever is happening and then analyze it and create your own performance report out of it. And this is not exactly the performance report submitted by the program manager. And any other required audits, etc., they are also part of it. So health check is a type of an audit. Planned governance meetings, it provides guidance for the scheduling of additional governance meetings or activities by defining criteria for their scheduling. For example, the review of program outcomes that may influence the program approach or program resourcing needs. So this will help us schedule our defining criteria in which we are going to be defining the approach of our program. And when we define the approach of the program, our resource needs, this is where we go into the development of the program management plan. Whether you want to formally call it a program management plan or not, but there is a governance management plan and there is a program management plan. Program governance plan hereby serves to influence the program management plan. That is exactly what I was showing. Program management plan influences the program governance plan influences the program management plan. So, few slides back, it said program governance plan can be a part of the program management plan. That does not mean that governance plan is subservient to the program management plan. If it is a part of program management plan, that means it has been noted as an annex to the program management plan for the guidance it provides, not not as a part of the program management plan. Program management plan thereby serves to influence the program management plan, defining the program's requirements for governance interactions and reviews. Specifically, from the point of view of the governance interactions, the guideline has to be coming out of the governance plan. But remember, program management plan will always be more detailed than the program governance plan. Program governance plan, whether it is specific to this program, still it is going to be, more abstract in nature. It is not going to be a very detailed working. This will concern itself only governance interactions, and reviews. This is all what governance plan is looking at. This is not going to be doing the micromanagement, but program
Suhail,
management
your
plan.
audio is gone.
Ji? Yes, Freya.
The audio is not working.
Audio is not working for how long?
It's going in and out.
Oh,
Half the sentences are gone.
okay. Have you had the opportunity of watching the videos which I sent yesterday? The previous videos. I just want to see if my voice is clear in those videos.
I can try to
Okay.
run them. I didn't try to run them yesterday.
Okay. I have listened a part of it, and I think that because that is being recorded on my computer, and the audio, the mic is being used from my computer, therefore the voice is very clear there. So I'm sorry about what is happening
Okay.
right here, but this is the problem with internet in Pakistan these days, and probably it's more on my side. Probably I don't know, but this problem is there, and I hope that we can somehow resolve it.
So yesterday's files are in the same
Yesterday we did not
long.
record, but day before yesterday that file is updated. Right now I am using the better internet. The second internet I am using, and I hope it should be working fine. But I don't know what is the problem. Right. So coming back to what we were discussing, as I said, program governance plan is the parent to the program management plan. And it not only influences the program management plan, but in defining the program requirements for governance interactions and review. What is other content in governance plan? In addition to the descriptions and definitions in subsections shown earlier, 6.1.1 and 6.1.2, in addition to whatever we talked, there are few more topics which could have been included in the governance plan. That could be the dependencies, assumptions, or constraints. Naturally, this is something which we have in charter, we have in business case, we have everywhere. So naturally, these assumptions are more refined than the charter, are more refined than the business case. Here, the assumptions are still better. But as we move ahead in program management plan and other documents later on, this will keep getting further clarified. Benefits, performance metrics and measurements, support services, stakeholder engagement, and governance practices. These are some of the topics which could be included in governance program governance plan. And I would repeat once again, program governance plan is not the detailed program management plan. This is just a guideline to prepare the program management plan. Looking at this guideline, we will prepare the project program management plan, but this plan is more focused on those objectives which we mentioned about the governance. How the governance is to be done, how it is linked upwards, how we are going to engage the stakeholders, how we are going to, monitor and evaluate and control the project and all that, reviews and change requests and escalations. These are the things we are more concerned about from the governance point of view. But in addition, we also may have some or all of these headings. As far as dependencies, assumptions, and constraints are concerned, list of governance key dependencies, assumptions, and constraints, including resources, budget, and operational limitations. Just look at it from the governance point of view. Nothing program. the work on program as such has not yet started. I mean, the plan of the program is not yet prepared. We have yet not started planning the program as such. So at that stage, what could be the assumptions? So naturally, they will be a little better than the charter, nothing more, almost the same thing. So if there is any clarification due to governance guidelines, those assumption constraints may be considered, and we may have certain things about resource, budget, and operational limitations which could be defined. Benefits, performance metrics, and measurement. List of the methods and metrics used to evaluate the program and evaluate component contributions to benefits, and a description of how information on the components will be collected, consolidated, and reported. So there are two parts to it. Number one, the methods and metrics. These are the generic methods and metrics to evaluate a program or a component. And the number two part is description of how information on the components will be collected, consolidated, and reported. So there could be a tool like balance scorecard or a dashboard which could make the things visible. So performance metrics, etc., must be uh, recorded in such a way and presented in such a way that they should be readily available. So today's online world has made it much more possible by in shape of the dashboards, that even if no matter where you are, but your mobile phone can carry a dashboard and can tell you what all major KPIs have been achieved and what all is happening. What is a summary of the performance. So performance metrics can be shown on dashboards or balance scorecards. Support services, identifications of identification of the areas where governance related support is needed, including is a description of the feedback and support approach used during the program. So feedback is extremely important to us. Naturally, we are dealing with the stakeholders and we have to keep them engaged. So feedback from the stakeholders and whatever we are sending up to the governance board, their decisions, they all are important to us. Stakeholder engagement, listing of the stakeholders who should be engaged and communicated with during the program life cycle and governance activity. Remember, this is not going to be as detailed as in the program communication plan, which is part of the program management plan. That means program communication plan is not yet ready. Here we may have a general idea of how the communications could be. I mean, this is not the plan. This is just how the communications should be, right? So general guidelines about engaging the stakeholders and what communication type of communication can be invoked amongst these stakeholders. These are the governance activities. Actually, I can understand that there might be a lot of confusion between the program governance plan and program management plan. That's why I am repeatedly uh, differentiating between the two by saying that governance plan is only restricted to those 4 or 5 headings, and this is just a guideline being provided. Based on that guideline, I will create a detailed program management plan which will contain a lot many other management plans like communication and other risk and everything that could be there within that program management plan. But when we talk about the governance plan, that means we are just doing an abstract, just the guideline. Governance practices, the intended design and implementation of practices described in section 6.1.1.2 and 1. Till 1.12 will also be covered in the program governance plan. So this is 6.1.2 till 6.1.12. This we are going to be discussing now. 6.1.2 is the program governance and vision and goal. Probably, we may not read through all of this. We have already talked about the vision and goal of an organization, how they are translated into strategies. I hope that is amply clear to you. Is it or is it not?
Yeah, basic vision and strategy is clear.
Exactly. Vision, mission, and then strategies, and how those strategies are further subdivided into sub strategies, and then some projects can be started based on certain strategies. Operations are already working on those strategies, and there could be certain strategies which would demand certain benefits or capabilities to be delivered, and for that, programs may come into being. So the vision and goals of the organization provide the basis for strategic mandates that drive the definition of most programs. Program governance ensures that any program within its area of authority defines its vision and goals in order to effectively support those of the organization. That means if organization has got a vision and mission, a program should have a supporting vision and mission which is in alignment with the organizational vision and mission. So vision and goals of your program should be defined also, and they should be in alignment with the organizational vision and goals. There is a program approval, endorsement, and definition. This is all about uh, the gateway reviews and all that. How the program comes into being, how its business case gets endorsed and all that, and ultimately the reviews. In most organizations, program governance outlines responsibility for approving each program approach and plan for how it will pursue program and organizational goals, and for authorizing the use of resources to support components and other program work in pursuit of that approach. So these approvals may occur in the program definition phase, like uh, they are facilitated by two program artifacts, which is the basic start points. First of all, we need to have a business case, and second, we develop a program charter. So these two artifacts are going to be the input for all subsequent documentation. Business case, as we already understand, is as a formal projection of the benefits that the program is expected to deliver and a justification for the resources that will be expended to deliver it. Charter, this authorizes the program management team to use organizational resources to pursue the program and links the program to its business case and the organizational strategic priorities. So this we have already talked about. Program governance facilitates program funding to the degree necessary to support the approved business case. Although business case does describe what funding and from where this funding is going to be coming, but naturally that is just a preempting kind of a study. That is just a kind of a feasibility. It is not exactly identifying the actual funding source. It may be an indicative kind of a thing that funding would be coming, may be coming from this direction. But now, when we are actually starting the work, this has to be finalized. Often, program funding is provided through a budgetary process that is controlled by a forum responsible for oversight of several programs. So that means either it is the program or the financial portfolio people or the finance people who are actually giving you this funding. In these instances, program funding is provided in a manner consistent with program needs and organizational priorities, as may be defined through the organization's portfolio management processes. So portfolio actually looks at the investment decision making. So therefore, portfolio would be telling us that which program is getting what funding and from where. When program funding needs to be secured from external sources, program governance is typically responsible for entering into the appropriate agreements necessary to secure it. So this is not the program manager's job or his responsibility. This is the job of the governance board or the people who or dealing with the finances. So this is not, as far as the program management is concerned, he will be told what funding he will be getting and when. But negotiating with the source and all is not his responsibility. Funding may have constraints that limit its use due to law, regulation, or other limitations. Naturally, you can see the loan we get from World Bank and all. It has its own laws and regulations. You can use this money for this purpose, and you cannot use it for that purpose. So funding from wheresoever it is coming, it may come with certain strings attached. Then is the program success criteria. Governance, which could be at the organizational, portfolio, or program level, establishes the minimum acceptable criteria for a successful program. That is important because, as far as programs are concerned, measuring the program exactly may not be possible. So, meeting the acceptance criteria of a program is just not exactly like meeting the acceptance criteria of a project. Because in project, we will have something, a product, a service, or a result, which could be clearly mentioned and clearly measured. Here also we try to measure as much as possible, but this measurement cannot be that exact. So it establishes the minimum acceptable criteria for a successful program and the methods by which those criteria will be measured, communicated, and endorsed. These methods are also selected. The criteria describes the definition of success. So the minimum level of success we are defining, but it could be, there is a kind of a play in it. We can have a tolerance to it, and we can say that from this to this level, the success starts from here, and it may go till here. So any level in between is acceptable. The minimum level must be achieved. So definition of
Suhail,
yes, please.
exactly what I was referring to yesterday,
Hmm.
that we don't have any room to play with. We are always given with this is the minimum acceptance criteria and this
Yes,
is the max, or this is the industry best,
exactly,
right?
exactly. And you see,
So,
because we are discussing the governance board now or governance, so these things are getting more clearer here. Probably that question should have been discussed with reference to governance.
yeah, but still the fact finding hunt won't come into, because it's either your plan or the governance board that tells you.
Now
There's
then,
no room for negotiation later on.
now as indicated here, there is a play in it. Minimum acceptance criteria. So the
Yes,
people
from
in the
minimum
governance board
maximum already there.
the people in the governance board may have a conflict. One person may be going for the minimum acceptance criteria, another person may not be accepting the minimum, he may be looking at a little more. So these kind of conflicts could be there in this board, and that question was more specifically for how to resolve that. So that is another discussion which we had yesterday. Anyways, so the criteria describe the definition of success consistent with the expectations and needs of key program stakeholders and reinforce the program alignment to deliver the maximum attainable benefits. What can be attained to the maximum? Here we said minimum acceptance criteria, and here what is the maximum delivery which could be attained?
Yes. And as a program manager, we always instruct and we tell them exactly why this particular software or hardware is working for our environment,
Mhm.
because our architecture or our personnel training is not most up to date or compatible or applicable because of certain compliance regulations.
Right.
What is allowed in America for FDA is
Mhm.
not allowed for healthcare in Canada.
Exactly.
What is allowed in Ontario is not allowed in Quebec. So they trim it down. There is always a minimum and a maximum. And
Right.
then you say, why can't you deliver? If
Mm.
IBM can deliver their efficiency and effectiveness or CMI level is this, but yours is this. So there's no way the same software or same hardware will deliver in the same manner for you.
Exactly. Exactly. The next heading is program monitoring, reporting, and controlling. Program governance participants are uniquely positioned to monitor the progress of programs in their pursuit of organizational goals, working collaboratively with the program manager to maximize the opportunities for success for the program. When I say governance participant, it does not mean that I am only talking about the governance board. As I have shown you the list of governance participants earlier, it also includes the program manager, the project manager, and all those people who are
Wait,
involved.
the diagram?
Uh, which diagram you are referring to? They have only seen one diagram so far. This one?
Yes. Is this the one you are referring to?
Did it refer to to a diagram? Just hold on, let me see. It did not refer to a diagram.
No, you just said it.
What I was talking about, the program participants are uniquely positioned to monitor the progress of program in their pursuit to organization goals, working collaboratively with the program manager. No, no, no. I didn't. Might be wrong. I was saying I have shown a slide before on which the list of program governance participants was given. That was probably just a moment. I'll just show you. I have actually shown a slide in which we said program steering board and all these people. That will come in roles. We have touched upon that slide shortly, but it listed the governance board members, then key stakeholders. It said the program manager, the program project managers, all those people who are tied with the rope of program governance. All these people. But that I just wanted to make my point that all of these people involved in governance are not all part of the governance board. That is my point.
You have
Program
shown
man,
it on the slide already.
it is not a slide. It is not a diagram. But yes, let me go into the very beginning. You see this one. Program governance roles, we'll be talking about these things: sponsor, steering committee, program management office, program manager, project manager, and other stakeholders. And subsequently, we have also mentioned it again in one of the slides, slightly touching upon it. But anyways, that is what I was referring to.
So, what is the role of a project manager in program governance?
You see, the program project manager will have to develop a project management plan. Project manager will need project governance framework. Program project governance framework will be uh, a subset of or will be inherited from the program management plan, which ultimately comes out of the program governance plan. So program governance plan is for the overall program, under which we create the program management plan. We identify the components, and for these components, we provide a governance mechanism which is not the same as the program governance, but component governance or the project governance. This project governance guides the project manager to develop his own plan. So this string of governance is connected down to the project team. Right
Yeah,
from
I
top,
get that. It gives me an umbrella or a lookup document that yes, this is what a project needs to comply with,
exactly.
right? This is my guidance umbrella.
Yes.
I just look up and whatever is, documented or, the box for the project within a program
Hmm.
is totally uh, enveloped within the program governance. You
Exactly.
can't step out of it because you're a
Right.
part of it.
Right. Within the program governance, we will create the component governance. That is
Uh,
that is the
we we create our everyday governance plan to fulfill the requirements or expectations that are basically legitimized in that governance plan. So basically, we just put the action plans or
hmm.
day-to-day plans in effect to fulfill those expectations.
No, no. Governance plan is not something that is on daily basis. Governance plan is a one single document created in the beginning, based on the organizational or portfolio governance. But I agree, it can be updated, and if it has to be updated, it has to be approved by the governance board. You cannot, program
So
manager cannot update it.
the governance, maybe the article itself or the document itself is written once,
Hmm.
but when it come down to the component level, how that governance is established,
It is
the
established
rules and
through
regulations
the program
is
plan.
yes, because even my petty cash regulation for a project
Yes,
is governed by that. So how
yes.
a project manager allows his staff to use photocopying or access resources or a lab or which building can I utilize is all governed and
Of
it's
course,
already established.
of course, it is
So
governed. Of
yes,
course, it is
so the
governed.
governance of the program is high level. When it comes to the project governance, it's the day-to-day nitty-gritties of it. The project manager only puts it into action for
No, no,
day-to-day.
no, 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 not at all. Program governance plan is translated into the project management plan. Day-to-day working is the job of the program manager, and that is enclosed in the program management plan. Program governance plan is not created by the program manager. Program governance plan is not the responsibility of the program management plan. Program manager is responsible for creating the project governance or component governance framework or the plan, which he will give to the respective project manager and leave it to the project manager how he translates it into his project management plan. So when you say that it is something which is being, a document which is being prepared for every day, that is probably you are mentioning to the management plan, not the governance plan. In light of the
Uh,
governance plan, the project management plan will encompass all day-to-day activities of the program. Similarly, project management plan within a component will encompass all the requirements of the governance of the project. So governance is just guideline, major methods, major tools, major functions, major instructions. So these are all given there. They are put into action through the management plan.
Yes, that's what I'm saying as well. That the
Exactly.
umbrella is given by the business plan,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
then it is brought down to everyday affairs,
Hmm.
whether it is put in the project management plan, project communication plan, project
Exactly.
financial plan. It does not
Exactly.
matter. They're all bound by the governance given in
Yes.
the program governance. And then the entitlement within the components is also different. What
Exactly.
IT is entitled to, legislature is not, because their audits are even more stringent
Yes.
than IT.
Exactly. So program manager should concern himself with following the governance plan, and it could be in form of a plan or in form of instruction or whatever. Following the governance plan and preparing his day-to-day detailed program management plan. Similarly, the component leaders like project managers, they will be doing the same with their project management plan. So, to support the organization's ability to monitor program progress and strengthen the organization's ability to assess the program status, that is very important. That how much information needs to go up to the organization, and that is where the KPIs come into play. We should only send that much information which is affecting a KPI, or any change to the program status which is indicated by KPIs, that much only must be sent up to the governance board. Governance board should not be sent out the detailed reports about day-to-day working of the whole program and everything. They don't need to know that. That information is useless for them. So they should only get the update on the KPIs. That is called the performance reporting. So program status and conformance with the organization controls. Many organizations define standardized reporting and controlling processes. So if you have a mature organization, they already have been running projects and programs for many years. So they will have their standardized reporting and controlling processes applicable to all programs. So there will be a standardized mechanism for that. So program governance assumes responsibility for enforcing program compliance with such processes.
What
Uh,
does this mean? Assuming responsibility, accountability is something else. Responsibility means what?
whomsoever are in the in the governance board, for example, governance board people, they are responsible that the governance is being applied. Program governance is being applied. So they will ensure through the program manager that the governance framework is being abided by. That's what it means.
Uh, so basically, assuming responsibility is not the act of it.
Yes, naturally, governance board cannot interfere with the daily working of the program, so they can just keep a check on the program manager. And as I said, if you have any problem in getting the program manager's reports, well, whether they are accurate or not, then you can have a third party helping you evaluating those reports.
Uh, it is how can a program manager be not giving reports to governance board,
So I'm not saying he is not
or is
giving.
it because of their,
Sometimes,
is it
sometimes
because of their accuracy?
Yeah, accuracy. The problem is with the accuracy. Sometimes the reports coming from the team are biased. So to remove that bias, it is necessary to involve a third party
Biased for what?
towards their own working, towards their own team. The team is going to always report in favor of their themselves. They'll not. They may not be actually.
Their press report. They're not quoting the facts. They're just stroking it wrong.
Yeah,
So that is completely separate. information.
Actually, there are two kinds of biases. One bias is that you intentionally misinterpret the things. The other bias is that you start believing that whatever you are saying is true. So that person is not lying actually, but he is kind of psychologically reporting something wrongly. So such biases have to be removed somehow. Anyways, uh, program monitoring, reporting and controlling the reporting and controlling documents, which some of the documents are listed here, like operational status and progress of programs, components and related activities, expected and incurred program resource requirements. Actually, all of this information, this is just indicative information. It is not necessary that all of this information must be included. This will depend upon the KPIs on which you are counting. So you will design your own requirements, what all information is required. But
So
generally,
who will typically give the KPIs? Will they be given by the governance board?
yes, governance board will be asking for certain information, and project program manager will be providing those KPIs. Naturally, KPIs are prepared after thorough analysis of the basic data. Actually, whatever will be the performance on ground, that will be analyzed and converted into the accomplishment of certain KPIs, and those KPIs will be reported back to the governance board.
Does governance board give KPIs or critical success factors?
Critical success factors. So critical success factors are based on KPIs. KPIs are based on naturally the individual reports. So all the individual reports are not going up. So critical success.
Suhail, critical success factors are broad stroke verbal things.
Mhm.
KPIs are actual calculations
Yes.
to support those critical success factors. And all the reports that you basis basically made or tested or gathered just to support those. So that is the natural progression that I understand, unless there
Okay.
is a different way of.
When you show a success factor, uh, the higher level always has a right to go a level deeper. They can look at your KPIs, but under the KPIs, this is the program manager's domain. Although they demand the critical success factors, but those critical success factors are based on, say, one critical success factor is based on 5 KPIs.
Yes, there are certain key performance indicators.
Exactly. So
So my question,
that would be
do
projected.
they dictate the critical success factors or do they dictate the KPIs to translate them as well or capture them?
No, KPIs, making the KPIs, yes, they can always indicate, but that is not really, you know, they may not, this may be left to the program manager to design his own KPIs, but he has to meet the criteria. To meet that
Yes.
criteria, if the governance board requires that you should have these KPIs fulfilled, then naturally program manager is bound for that. If he is not given that those KPIs, he can create his own. But in his report, he might be showing that these 5 KPIs has been fulfilled and therefore this success criteria is complete. So we can have expected and incurred program resource requirements, known program risks, their response plans and escalation criteria, strategic and operational assumptions, benefit realized and expected sustainment, benefits realized decision criteria, tracking and communication, program change control, compliance with the corporate and legal policies, so on and so forth. There could be any number of reports, but these are some indicative reports which could be there. So this is part of the program monitoring, reporting, and controlling. Then we have risks and issue governance. Effective risk and issue management practices ensure that key risks and issues are escalated appropriately and resolved in a timely manner. I think we have already talked a lot about escalation process, whether it is issue, it is problem, or as a risk. They all have to be escalated if they cannot be resolved at a specific level. The escalation processes typically operate at two levels: within the program, between the component teams, program management team, and the program steering committee. This is one escalation. Outside of the program means between the program management team, the program steering committee, and other stakeholders. So if other stakeholders are also
Suhail, can
involved,
we conclude here and begin in the next? Because
of
I
course.
need.
Okay, we will leave here 6.1.6. So we will start from 6.1.6
Oh,
from the next class, that is on next Tuesday. Tuesday morning our time and
okay.
Monday evening Julian time. Any questions, Julian?
Okay.
No, not for this. We're not doing my Thursday or my Fridays going forward. Right?
Yes, we will be meeting on Monday evening, your
Okay.
time,
Okay.
your time, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much and take care, please.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.